Afternoon, everyone. This is Tony from her Homestead Skills. Well, I did go out to the thrift shops this morning and really found nothing there. And then I also went to one of my favorite places that sometimes has discounts and closeouts, and I did find a couple of shirts for Mark. So golf shirts at a very good price. So I picked up two of them, and I occasionally find things there either for myself or for Mark. And actually, I think I found this top there once, and I had a cream one and a black one. So yeah, but it's not even a clothing store. It's an interesting place, but they do have closeouts, and sometimes I've seen dark chocolate bars that you'd pay $2-3 for elsewhere for 59 cents. And oh boy, that makes me, I have to stay away from that place when they have those chocolate bar sales. But anyway, it's a gorgeous day, gorgeous day. I didn't bother going to the garden because I did go there the last couple of days and worked very hard at it. And I figured that today I would just give myself a break. And hopefully some of the things that I did in the last couple of days will pan out. I returned some of the soil where the weeds were just growing too thick. It just seems like the easiest thing to do. And since my peas didn't really come up, only one or two of them did, even though I planted them like 3 times. Perhaps the bunnies were just getting them. So I planted some watermelon there, and it's a good expanse, and hopefully the watermelon will come up. Now, the seeds I gave to my son are the same ones, and they're coming up just fine in his little plot. So I'm hoping I'll have the same success where I planted mine. And of course, like everyone else, I am watching with all kinds of interest on what is happening in the U.S. And although I did hear on the news that our Ontario Premier, Doug Ford, he's a conservative, and he has an 11-point lead over the current Liberals. But should he call an early election, that might dwindle, and it might not give him a majority government, which is what you want, because if you don't have a majority government, you get it makes life more difficult. So we'll see what happens with him, but things look good for the conservative governments, both provincially and federally. Now in Canada, or in Ontario specifically, normally you would have one. If it's a Liberal government for provincially, for Ontario, you will have a conservative government federally. They rarely like to have both the same, but this year, well, next year, if conservatives win in both provincial and federal, it'll be an interesting state of affairs, definitely a change. So we'll see what happens there. And yes, politics are getting a little bit interesting. And I understand that England also will be having an election very soon, so who knows what'll happen there. France is in turmoil with their election. The world is changing, and maybe people are just starting to finally come to their senses. There's just so much chaos and confusion, and So did anybody watch the president's speech in regards to the ruling from the Supreme Court justices on presidential immunity? Boy, that was quite a twist of what actually was stated there. From what he said, he could do all kinds of ugly things right now during these next few months because he's all powerful. He's a king. So I don't know what he's going on about. I don't really think much has changed as far as presidential immunity as to what was existing for the last 200 years. Maybe it's just been defined, but I don't think too much has changed. So I think there's a lot of fear-mongering going on again, but I'm of the impression that very, very soon you're going to see a lot of rats leaving the sinking ship. And everyone knows that ship is sinking. The donors are very, very concerned, and I think people have come to the conclusion that something is seriously wrong, and people have been deceived. I guess that's the word. They've been deceived, at least for the last year, if not longer. So I'm afraid that maybe they wanted to be deceived as well. They're willing to listen to voices that tell them what they want to hear rather than paying attention themselves and coming up with their own conclusions. And I don't feel sorry for them. I think that they have to learn to see things for themselves, think for themselves, make their own decisions, and not just be led by what their friends have to say and what their, other family members want, or they want to be in the in crowd and just go along to get along. Well, that doesn't necessarily work, because when that hits the fan, you see what you've got happening now. And yeah, there'll be a lot of people just jumping ship to save themselves and pointing fingers. I've already said that in my last video, that there's going to be a lot of finger pointing, and that seems to be becoming, seems to be happening. They want to blame everyone else for their own failures. And I think as far as the Biden family is concerned, they've only got themselves to blame. So they have wanted this. They have pressed for this. They've played along, and of course their handlers protected them, covered for them. And so, yeah, everyone in that particular boat that is sinking is now looking at jumping ship one way or another. Yeah, there will be a few hangers on, but I really don't expect that to last too much longer. So, and I've also heard on the radio, as a matter of fact, that Alan Bragg, who was the fellow who brought the charges against Trump in the Manhattan case, is willing to delay the sentencing. Now, I don't know if he's got the say or if it's the judge who has the final word, but once again, it seems as though common sense is coming into play. Perhaps those people realize that this is going to get overturned anyway, and that everyone's being caught in all their little schemes and all their little, everything that they're attempting to do to look after the person that they thought, even if they only figured that they could get him past the finish line in November, and apparently it doesn't appear to be the case anymore. So, okay, interesting. I think it'll be a couple of weeks, maybe a week, 2 weeks down the road before we really recognize or know what the fallout from all of this is. I'm sure that you're going to see things happening day by day to lead to some sort of conclusion. And yeah, it's a mess. It's a mess for the Democrats, and it's a shame, but they own it. They created it, they own it, and that's what you get for pushing the envelope far beyond what you should be doing. So if nobody's above the law, then nobody's above the law. Not just one group is above the law and the other one is not. So yeah, but you know what? It's all in the good Lord's hands, and He will do what He chooses to do, whether He even allows these folks to stay in power for whatever His reasons He may have. But going to be interesting, and yes, I do believe that Kamala will put up a fight. I may be wrong, but there's also a $200,000 war chest that somebody will want. Should they both leave voluntarily? Would they split it between them? With Kamala, well, nobody wants her anyway, and it doesn't really bode well for her either. So it's pretty sad. They should have chosen somebody that could actually replace Biden, and then they wouldn't be in this pickle today. But live and learn. And I also understand that Tractor Supply is dumping the woke ideology, equity and inclusion and whatever. Going, I'm surprised they even went along with it considering who their clientele is, but people are waking up. You know, either something works or it doesn't. Okay, they gave it a good try, and it obviously didn't work. It didn't work for a number of companies, and more of them are recognizing that you hire qualified, not equitable people. So, not to say that you shouldn't give people a chance, but, you know, let them work for it. Let them show you that they're capable of reaching a certain, you know, I do agree that sometimes you just have to give people a chance to rise to the occasion. Some are capable and some are not. And the old saying is that people usually rise to the level of their incompetence. And at that point, you know, that's an old office adage that, you know, when people are climbing the ladder, that they rise to the level of their incompetence. And sometimes they rise because somebody likes them, or they rise because they are stroking the right person. And sometimes people don't like to be stroked. They just want to see somebody that's qualified and does the job. And that's the person, in my eyes, who should be the one who is lifted up. But it doesn't mean others shouldn't be given an opportunity. And that's a different story again. You give people an opportunity, let them see if they succeed at a certain level, and then you move them up. And if they continue to succeed, you move them up again. So there are ways of encouraging people and helping people to better their own situations. But this where you tear down one because you want the other one to succeed is not the way to do it, you know. Anyway, I've worked in the business world and I've seen a lot of things, but that's okay. I'm certainly not sorry to be out of there. I'm glad I've retired. Anyway, great day, beautiful day, awesome sunshine. Mark is back out fishing, and yeah, I'll probably be at my garden again tomorrow. And it's starting to, I mean, my garden isn't really producing as of yet, so it'll be a little while yet. It's just in the growth stage. Usually by the end of July I start to see some things, so but not yet. So I noticed that some folks down south are already harvesting. Lucky folks. Not here. So anyway, at least nothing more than my herbs. Yes, I have harvested my herbs, and I will make some lavender sachets and do a few things with that lavender. But and of course my garlic will be ready by the end of the month, and that'll be interesting as well, but it's still early for me. Anyway, this is Tony from Her Homestead Skills. Hope you guys are having an awesome day and enjoying the weather. I hope you're having this beautiful weather as what I'm having, and keeping an eye on the drama. It's rather interesting, and I'm glad to see that level heads are prevailing. Anyway, catch you soon. Bye for now.